Hello again and welcome to the scene you see in front of us, the body shell of a very dusty Lamborghini Countach. In this video I'm going to do a more in-depth look at the body, showing the things we like, the things we don't like, and the things we need to change. We've already covered the engine and transaxle combination in a previous video. It's a Toyota V12 and an Audi transaxle. So today it's time to give the body some attention. So firstly, a quick overall look. So this body is based on the normal Countach design, which was the shape before the 25th anniversary edition model. So I personally think this shape looks the best, especially with the round belly look of the car, as opposed to the busyness of the 25th anniversary edition. So the engine cover is based on the design found on the 5000 QV model, so we're going to be badging this replica as such. Now in terms of dimensions and wheelbase, I've measured most of it and compared it to measurements found online for the real car, and it's pretty much identical. So I'm guessing this was one of the kits that was molded from the real car with a few small differences, which we'll start looking at now. So let's get started here at the back of the car with the tail lights. The first thing that needs to be changed is the shape of the tail lights around. So the original car is a slight angle that sort of runs down this way over there, whereas you can see this one just goes down straight. Not a big change, but it will help it look a bit more complete after some bodywork, obviously. The actual tail lights and indicators go here in these holes. Fortunately, I have a full complete set of these, and there are genuine Credo ones also, so that's nice. Actually, speaking of these tail light surrounds, I need to buy these. Moving to the middle panel, all the badges for the car need to go here. There was previously nothing on the car. Now I've had all the badges made up to OEM spec, and here they all are. And we do have a guide of exactly where to fit them, so we'll be putting them in the correct spot. But just for reference, the Lamborghini wording goes about there, the Bull goes round about there, Countach goes here, and the 5000 QV goes round about there. Now below the car there's meant to be a prop exhaust shield that protrudes out a bit further here, and this replica just has this small piece that's part of the body and looks a bit rubbish, to be honest. So fortunately it is possible to buy a recreation part here, so we'll be doing that in due time. Now moving up top, you'll see that the wing is currently off the car. I know some people like the look of a Countach without the wing, but I think it adds to the overall appeal of the car. So sorry for you, but we're going to be putting it back on. We will just need to reattach this fin here. Goes on there, but that's no problem. So moving along, and you'll see some vents used for cooling. We have these for both sides, however they do need a refurbishment, which will also be sorted out. Now weirdly, the one side is in much better shape than the other side, but regardless they'll both be refinished. The same goes for the vents here for the engine cover. We also have this lying around in a big pile of parts somewhere upstairs, and they'll also be getting restored. Now this big area is where the air intakes are meant to go. You'll see that one is placed on that side for mock-up purposes. Again, we have both parts for these, so there's nothing to worry about there. But since this side is empty, let's just take a quick look where the Ford V8 used to live, which will now be home to the Toyota V12. If you haven't seen that video, check it out when we're done here. I'll post a link in the description. So now let's keep on moving forward to where the doors should be, except you'll see they're currently stacked inside the car on a bunch of other parts. So while at a first glance the doors might look okay, they unfortunately require a lot of work and parts. Firstly, there are no rubber seals for the outside of the doors, so we'll have to source that. Otherwise the car will obviously just leak water. Next, you'll notice the paint on the door has been damaged. The car was in storage for about a year, and we think a bottle break fluid was leaking and ate up the paint, so they'll have to get refinished. These doors also came with mirrors, which were mounted on the other side, right about over there, but there were just some cheap generic mirrors that aren't specific to the Countach. I'm trying to source a real set, which I believe were made by V12, so I might not have said that correctly. However, I have seen sets pop up on eBay from time to time, so I'm sure we can get a pair on there. You'll notice the windows also don't go down at all. They are literally stuck in place. Hopefully we can figure out a way to install a mechanism here to be able to open the windows even slightly, because while this car will have air conditioning, it would be nice to have working windows as well, for example, needing to pay a toll. Speaking of mechanisms, yet more parts are missing from the door, like the locks and the handles. So great, more to buy. Since we're looking at the doors in the interior, I may as well briefly mention the interior. Unfortunately, there's barely anything to work from here, so we're going to go from scratch. The seats weren't correct, nor were the gauges, or the entire center console or steering wheel, and much more. There's actually a lot to go through for the interior, so I'll save that for a future video, and besides, we're leaving the interior for last. We're essentially doing mechanicals and bodywork first, which will take some time, and then interior at the end. So now, being a replica, you'll notice that the windows are entirely flat, whereas the windows on the real car have a slight curve to them. I know some people have gone through the effort of making curved glass for their replicas as well. However, we're just going to leave them as flat for the time being. Maybe somewhere down the road we'll investigate changing it. Also, this car used to be yellow, and you can see some remnants of it inside the door over here, with what appears to be a device for a sound system as well. At least I think it's for a sound system. If you know what it is for, let me know in the comments down below. So just looking at the top of the car briefly, you'll see this roof is also flat. That's another sign that this is an early replica. The original car roof is ever so slightly curved. However, overall, this body looks pretty good in terms of proportions, so we're not too worried about flat roof. What we are worried about, however, is right here. This massive area where a windscreen is supposed to go. So this particular car never came with one. I'm guessing it was broken when it was removed to get painted. Now it looks like this windscreen is just flat though, so hopefully we can find someone who can work some magic here. There also isn't a windscreen wiper either, so that's one more part to source. Now taking a walk over to the front of the car, we are missing the indicators that go here on each side of the car. As with the mirrors, they seem to be possible to find those online, so we'll be able to get those from there. On the topic of lights, we're missing a large amount of lights for the front of this car. Firstly, the main headlights, which go here in these covers that are currently stuck down, are missing. Like the back ones, there are Carello lights which come off the sale every now and then, so I'm guessing we're going to have to buy a set. These headlights do pop up, and we do seem to have motors for that over here. Whether they work or not remains to be seen. Now just in front of the main headlights, we have these buckets here that contain the indicators. Now here is where we're missing a lot. We're missing the actual lights again, the silver buckets that fit in here as well as the lens that covers this. Fortunately, I think we can still source genuine lights and reproduction parts for the rest, so hopefully eventually look nearly OEM over here. Then moving to the actual front of the car, we do have the two lights that go here and here. However, they're not the correct ones. As far as I know, I believe the correct lights that go there are Carello, again, like most of the rest of the car. And maybe eBay can help us out with a set of those. And just to the side here, you'll see the small recessed area over here. On the real car, this is actually open and serves as a vent for the air conditioning, I think. And the ones below are vents to the brakes. Now we do have a piece that fits here on each side. However, it's just some generic grill, so I have to get the correct one made as well as the area cut out. So last but not least, for the front of the car is the front trunk. Now currently it doesn't have a hinge like most of the panels on this car, and I can't do a good job opening it while holding a camera, but I can tell you it's mostly empty inside there, save for the brake booster and headlight motors. So the air conditioning and spare wheel fits inside there on the genuine car, so perhaps we should look at installing our AC inside there as well. Now there's also a badge missing on the front of this car, which is the all-important Lamborghini badge. Remarkably, this was the only one we didn't have to buy, as we found it wrapped up in a pile of tape. And I have it right over here. So after a bit of a cleanup, it was good to go, and maybe we'll leave installing that for last, as it can almost signify the final touch for the body. So I hope you enjoyed that brief overview of the body. I may have missed out a few details, but I'll make sure to go into more depth into each area as we progress, so stay tuned for updates. Also, if you have any suggestions for what we can do to make this car look as good as possible, drop them in the comments below. Next video we'll be having a quick look at the chassis and all the work that has to be done there, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.